Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of the Daily Debate. In tonight's show, we're going to be tackling one of the main contributors to the Egyptian economy, if not actually the biggest contributor to the Egyptian economy, the industrial sector. Now, over the past year, Egypt and the industrial sector has showed and maintained growth for about 17.1% of the general economic growth for Egypt, which makes it the main contributor. We're going to be looking at the development of this sector over the past few years since the application of the economic reform program and the future that is really anticipated for such a vital sector. But before we start discussing this important issue, we're going to be taking a look at some of the stories making the news today. And we'll start off with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi following up today on the executive infrastructure works in the new administrative capital, including its facilities, roads and internal axes, as well as the main residential complexes and the government district. This came during the President's meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and the Ministers of Electricity and Renewable Energy, Communications and Information Technology and Housing and Urban Communities, in the attendance of a number of senior officials. Presidential spokesman Bassam Radi said the meeting tackled the ongoing efforts to connect hubs and roads of the city with all neighborhoods and sectors of Cairo through modern mass transportation, as well as a presentation of the transportation system within the new capital itself. The head of state reviewed the executive position of the central bus station, works of the telecommunications sector, including communication infrastructure, information services, comprehensive automation, digital transformation of ministries, training programs for employees on new information systems and skills development. President al-Sisi also discussed plans of transferring the ministries and various state authorities and institutions, giving his instructions to regularly follow up the various construction works in the city according to a set timetable and adhere to the highest standards of quality and safety in accordance with the most modern technology criteria. Also, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held a phone call with the Iraqi President Barham Saleh and Prime Minister Mustafa Kadhimi over a deadly fire at Imam Hussein Hospital in southern Iraq that left 66 people dead and over 100 others injured. During the telephone conversations, the President offered solace to families of the victims and wished speedy recovery for the injured, calling upon Almighty Allah to grant the best of health to the Iraqi Premier and to protect the people of Iraq. Also, the Foreign Ministry extended its condolences to Iraq's government and people over the fire in the city of Nasiriyah. In a statement, the ministry also offered condolences to the victims' families, wishing the injured people as well speedy recovery. And in the same context, the Arab League and the Arab Parliament extended their condolences to the Iraqi government and victims' families. Initial investigations showed that the fire began when sparks from faulty wiring spread to an oxygen tank that then exploded. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also met with Greek and Cypriot youth delegations with Egyptian origins on Tuesday as part of the Reviving Roots initiative. The President said the trilateral Egyptian-Greek Cypriot cooperation strikes an example to be followed throughout the East Mediterranean. Presidential spokesman Bassam Radi said the initiative is based on the long mutual history of Egypt, Greece and Cyprus and extends a message of love from Egypt to all those who lived on its soil and shared its legacy. And Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry and the European Union Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell hailed on Tuesday the strategic ties that bind the two sides as crucial in light of joint growing challenges at regional and international levels. During their talks in Brussels, Shoukry said Cairo's vision aims at regaining stability and achieving prosperity for peoples of the region. The top diplomat said the message he delivered from President Sisi to the EU foreign policy chief aims at stressing strong ties between Egypt and the European countries. Shukri expressed the EU's readiness to expand cooperation and present its expertise and suggestion to solve the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam crisis. He said EU commissioners stressed the fairness of the Egyptian status and Egypt's rights of the River Nile waters, adding that the EU statement called on Addis Ababa to end its unilateral decisions. Shukri noted that Egypt and Sudan are coordinating efforts to make the suitable decision to return to the negotiating table. He said the African Union has vowed to present new ideas for the negotiations to end the dam crisis. The meeting tackled means of activating existing mechanisms within the European-Egyptian cooperation deal, in addition to developments in Libya and the Palestinian cause, the Ethiopian dam, and efforts to combat illegal immigration and terrorism also topped the agenda for their talks. These were the main stories making the news today, but now let's check out this report regarding the industrial lead that Egypt has taken over the past few years, specifically with the start of the application and the implementation of the economic reform program. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.
Egypt monitored the establishment of hundreds of factories in all fields and specialities with the highest international standards in the past few years. Today, industry sector represents 22% of the size of the Egyptian economy, as the volume of its exports from industry stands at 4.8 billion Egyptian pounds compared to 18.6 billion in the previous years. No one can deny the size of the unprecedented achievements that are being made daily in the land of Egypt in all fields, especially in industry. There is no doubt that Egypt has achieved unprecedented leaps in the industrial sector, which is evident to all. The sector has witnessed the establishment of hundreds of factories in all fields and specialities with the highest international standards. The industry sector represents 22% of the size of the Egyptian economy, as the volume of its exports from the industry stands at 24.8 billion Egyptian pounds compared to 16.8 billion in the previous years. Despite the negative repercussions of the global spread of the novel coronavirus, Egypt's industry managed to achieve successes during the years of 2020. These were represented in maintaining production rates and the establishment of a large number of industries, which contributed to increasing reliance on national products as an alternative to imported products, which were costing the state's budget huge sums of money. The difficult conditions in the global economy had a great impact on the slowdown in international trade and the closure of a large number of factories in most countries. However, great efforts exerted by the government resulted in the adoption of many initiatives to support the national industry.